even if they only have $200 to get that into a startup that they care about and, potentially make that 100x return or not. And they got to, have the thrill of learning. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, yes, profits to the people, but learning to the people, getting to follow along on these rides. That is been the most amazing kind of tertiary benefit of building a company and being around entrepreneurs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Profit to the People, the official podcast of Republic, where we believe you have the power to invest in the future you believe in. I'm your host, Lisa Carmen Wang, head of brand at Republic, and I'll be taking you behind the scenes to meet the team, founders, and investors in our community who share their insights on the future of investing and how they're bringing profit back to the people. To learn more about how you can invest, head over to republic.co and follow us on all socials at Join Republic and at Lisa Carmen Wang. Today, I'm here with Courtney Boyd Myers, aka CBM. She's the founder of AKUA, a brand of sustainable seagreens-based foods. Through Republic, they maxed out their $1 million campaign and launched the world's first kelp burger. They also have kelp pasta and kelp jerky, which won Time's Best Invention and Fast Company's World-Changing Idea. AKUA's customers include Sir Richard Branson, Dr. Stephen Gundry, and more. And CBM has been named one of Business Insider's 30 most important women under 30 in tech and one of Business Insider's 100 most influential tech women on Twitter. Today, she's going to talk to us about her quest to help build a consumer market for sea greens like kelp, or as she puts it, hustling sea vegetables. CBM, welcome to Profit to the People.
Thanks, Lisa, for having me. So great to be here.
So let's start. Why kelp?
That's a great question, considering I've decided to pursue my entire career around this virtuous sea vegetable. I have always been obsessed with seaweeds. And just to be clear on what is kelp, so when you think about the algae kingdom, which like the fungi kingdom is separate from plant and animal, within algae kingdom, you have cyanobacteria, microalgae, and macroalgae. Kelp is a macroalgae. These are the plants in the algae kingdom that grow via photosynthesis. So kelp is a brown macroalgae specifically. It is chock full of vitamins and minerals, and I always knew it was just a really healthy sea vegetable to eat. And a few years ago, as I started pursuing a career in something that would address climate change, wasn't sure what it was, a friend said, you should come out and visit this kelp farm. And so I took a boat out and I learned all about the environmental benefits of growing kelp, the economic benefits of growing kelp. And because I already knew about the health benefits, I thought, wow, this ticks every box in the type of food company and food system I want to create in the world.
Awesome. And I read that you became an advisor to Greenwave, which is a nonprofit that supports the regenerative ocean farming industry. Tell me a little bit about how that work brought you even closer to launching this.
Yeah, of course. So that boat I mentioned when I first visited the kelp farm, that was a Greenwave boat. And Greenwave is a nonprofit that is pioneering education and farmer training programs, really inspiring this whole generation of fishermen to get into kelp farming. And so I was starting as an advisor to them and I was helping them with fundraising. So I organized like a bike ride from from Connecticut to Cape Cod, and 25 people, we raised $25,000 in a weekend, cycling, and it was so much fun. I said to the founder of Greenwave, this amazing guy named Bren Smith, I said, what do you really need to help kick off this industry? And he said, we're going to keep growing kelp. This industry is going to get big from an agricultural standpoint, and we need your help creating a consumer market for kelp. So that is how I set out to start AKUA.
Awesome. And, as we know, consumer markets are pretty difficult to penetrate, especially if you don't know exactly who it is that your target market is, but you have a background in marketing and branding, and community building. So tell me a bit about that background and how it helped you really hone in on the product you were going to create and your go-to-market strategy.
So yes, previous to founding AKUA, I was first a journalist and I built an incredible network of, entrepreneurs and founders. I would write their stories and, we would stay friends. And then I parlayed that into a career in events planning. I worked for this company called Summit I was their global community director. And my job was to invite, with a team of community directors, about 2,000 people to our events every year. And these are 2,000 people who have to be founders of companies or innovators within larger organizations, creatives, artists, scientists, people who are truly working hard to make the world a better place. And so really built an incredible network through that. And I think I've always been a natural born community builder. Like if I don't know how to do something, I just invite 12 people who know how to do it around a dinner table, and they love that curation. And, I get to benefit from having built that community. And so with AKUA, we have always been focused on our customers, this whole concept of direct to customers. We think about direct to community, and, we've launched with a Kickstarter way back when we came out with our kelp burger last year. In the pandemic, we couldn't exactly host tasting parties. And so what we did is we launched the Kelp Beta Burger Club. And we invited 1,000 customers over 6 months to participate in our product development. We also had no money. So we said, you need to pay for this. But people were so excited to pay for anything that was delicious and would have been delivered directly to their door during the pandemic, right? So that was a really interesting sort of, wow, if we can start doing product development with our community, for our community, this is going to make our go-to-market and our launch strategy that much more fun and also data-filled.
And I think what's clear is that you have put purpose in alignment with profit in building this company. And I think especially, today's age, quick profits, that has been something that has been part of this old narrative. And I think more and more people are realizing and willing to pay more for products that are good for the environment, are good for their bodies. So how have you shared that story, or kind of the purpose of the product as well as the profit and the deliciousness of it?
Yeah. I think this really just comes down to changing consumer mindsets today. We are in a world where people are no longer just aligning themselves with brands and products based on taste or, convenience. I think that people really want to vote with their dollars. And it really is the most powerful tool that consumers have, choosing where their dollars get spent. And so I think more and more people are waking up to this, and therefore more and more people are demanding more of brands, and rightfully so. So you see things like 1% for the planet, which, we're part of that network. And that's a commitment that Patagonia really made big, and over the past 20, 30 years. And so that is a partnership where you commit 1% of your annual sales, not profits, sales, to a nonprofit partner. And so we've chosen Greenwave for our first year and 1% for the planet as our nonprofit partner recipient through 1% for the planet. So that's really just been an awesome, step in the right direction for AKUA. And then, we've been built from day one, just based on mission. This is not just a RX bar type company where we're making something delicious and packaging it in plastic and running and getting it everywhere. I would have zero inspiration building a company like that. So we've always been at this for more than just the food product, right? We've really always wanted to do this for the greater mission. And I think that means that resonates with our customers in a really deep way.
Amazing. And so clearly community has been a big part of developing the product, iterating it, launching it. Tell me about why you ended up choosing Republic and equity crowdfunding.
So coming off the back of that, 1,000-person product development cycle on the kelp burger, we realized, wow, we've got amazing fans and customers. And again, I've always been this big community builder. We've done Kickstarter, and also traditional fundraising during the pandemic, like when you're in a pivot as a company, was brutal. I scraped the internet, and I think after maybe 1,000 phone calls was able to raise about $300,000 for the company. So, Republic actually reached out to us, and we thought, wow, this is really cool and really amazing. Is it going to be worth the time, effort, and investment into the platform because it does take a lot of work to get up and running and to run the campaign. We also had many other competitors approach us, like Start Engine, and we chose Republic based on two main reasons. One, I love the UI. I could immediately visualize our campaign on Republic's pages, and I didn't get that same user interface feeling from other platforms. And then two, a lot of these folks from other platforms were really salesy, and Republic approached us, and it just felt very team oriented and very familial. So we knew that we had a team supporting us through the process, and we knew it was definitely a risk from a time and bandwidth and energy perspective, but felt like, we wanted to give it a shot, and what better time to do it than, kind of coming out of a pandemic like we were.
So what were some of the surprises you had, whether good or bad, throughout that campaign?
I mean, it was just amazing, the reception to the campaign, from day one, and obviously, having hit that $1 million max, we couldn't be happier with the results. We went into the campaign internally saying, if we hit $300,000, this will be a success for us. It will be worth all of the time and energy investment. And so we, hit 100,000 pretty quickly on. We hit that 25K mark. Republic emailed out our campaign, and I think that pushed us over the $100,000 mark right there. So that's really speaks to the power of the Republic network there. And then, you saw kind of continued growth over that 6-month period that our campaign was live, and you saw these spikes when Seaspiracy came out. It was a huge bonus for us. And then obviously you saw these huge amount of money come in at the end when people realized that we were going to hit the cap. I think that definitely the most surprising thing was just how much money we were able to raise on it compared to, the food companies that I'd seen before. There was also one other food company on there that launched at a similar time than us. And I remember kind of having a competitive spirit and being like, I want to beat them. And I think it's really good to have competitors for that reason, because it does drive you. So yeah, that was definitely the most positive and surprising experience.
Did you see people who are investing and also buying the product simultaneously, trying it out? And
yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like at this point it's like a commercial for Republic, but it's true. We had our sales double during our campaign. It was amazing because obviously, there's this halo effect of the campaign being out there and that many more people seeing it. Not just the 2,000 people that invested, but all the other people who see the campaign and want to try the products. We also did things towards the end of the campaign, we had someone get on the page and say, oh, I don't like kelp burgers, they're terrible. And I was like, I feel so confident in this product that even though we haven't launched yet, I'm going to let every single person on this campaign page try the kelp burger before our campaign ends. And tons of, that was one of our biggest sales days, obviously. And everyone came back in from that and increased their investment. It was amazing. So it was, that was also a good surprise.
And so how do you face consumers who are nervous or unsure about trying seagreens and kelp?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we haven't been really, right now we're kind of hitting the low-hanging fruit, the folks who, there's such a big audience of people that have been dying to eat more things from seagreens. So we're servicing them, the coastal communities and, the coastal cities. I think as we start to work with bigger retailers and we work on these nationwide launches, we're definitely going to have to figure that out. And I think that really the only way is just sampling, having people try it. Also, word of mouth marketing is just, it's everything. It's impossible to measure, but it's impossible to kind of spend money on, but it's the most important part of food marketing.
Yeah. And as a community builder and a marketer, that's something that we just understand is so inherently powerful for building a consumer brand.
Absolutely.
How have your investor community supported you even post the close?
I think that, our Republic investors have just been, advocates for the brand. We have just really over the past few weeks been shipping them all their samples. So they're sharing them with friends and family. We've had investors reach out with retail sales experience who've offered to help. I think that's been the coolest thing is I feel like we've built this army of people who are now all fighting for us to succeed in the world.
And so with over 2,000 investors in your company now. How do you handle that as a founder? Do you get requests all the time? Are you sharing updates frequently?
We've started sharing less updates, obviously, because the campaign is over. And I think, we've told everyone, please update your LinkedIns and please follow us on all these platforms that we're publishing on more frequently. I have a Q2 update due to our, private investors imminently, it being June 30th today. And we will share the same update like on the Republic page as well. We'll probably move campaign comms over to, our email comms just to keep things more streamlined. That being said, if other brands are continuing to use the Republic campaign to, for further comms, we'd be interested in it. We're just trying to, keep our channels as few as possible.
Well, congrats. I mean, I think it was a huge success, and we're so excited to have you as part of the Republic family. Since you've closed, what are some just exciting milestones that you've come across? Have there been any investors who have approached you?
Yeah. So just following the Republic campaign, we had about 280,000 in overflow that we had to whip up really quickly, a private safe note on the same terms as the Republic campaign and capture that funding. It was all checks over, 25K. We weren't allowing small checks in at that point, which is what is so amazing about the crowd safe note we did with Republic. But right after that, we got a call from a private investor who's just starting a new fund. And he's like, I want you guys to be one of my first investments when I close the fund, and I'll lead the round, and I'm committing $1 million. And that was really awesome. And we're also privately raising at a $10 million valuation versus the $7 million cap we raised in the Republic campaign. So when we close this round this summer, being able to update our Republic investors that, their investments already increased is going to be pretty exciting.
Is there anything you'd like to say to your current and or future investors?
For us, this is a company that we are building to be a for-profit business that, gets bought by a large food company or IPOs someday. But more importantly, like if AKUA works and if AKUA is able to get kelp burgers across America and across the world, first of all, we will have scaled potentially one of the most important agricultural industries in the context of climate change that we've ever seen or known about. And if we are also able to scale internationally, we will be one of the first companies to actually deliver a healthy burger to the rest of the world versus the McDonald's and Burger King of our previous generation.
As you're scaling that, or as you're envisioning that, I'm actually curious about your team and how you've built your team, how you plan on scaling that.
Of course, we've been really lucky so far that, our team's been really mean and lean, and our, new hires, we've basically tripled the size of the team in the past month. And everyone is more or less like a consultant or agency, but very much full time. So, versus just putting a ton of people on payroll. And that means that we get to hire people who are, 25 years plus of experience, like deep industry knowledge, probably wouldn't join a small startup full time, but will definitely take us on as a client and treat us like, we're all on the same team. So that's been, I think, a really interesting strategy for us. Like I've never wanted to build a 50-person company and have giant offices that we pay 20 grand a month for, like I've always wanted to build a highly distributed, very flat structured team of all, industry experts and a team of just self-starters. Part of that's just because like, I don't really want to manage 50 people, like I want to do the work every day that, to lead the company forward, but I don't want to be like just building processes and management. And if it ever gets to that, someone else can be CEO. Let me I just want to keep my hands dirty in the business. So yeah, I think at the moment we're scaling really smartly. We're definitely hiring for food scientists right now. This is number one for us. So if anyone out there is listening that wants to start making, meat and seafood alternative products with kelp as the feature ingredient, hit me up.
Any advice you would give, or any last tips you'd like to share with founders who are interested in going the route of equity crowdfunding?
Yes. So I did write a massive piece on Medium. It's called How to Rock a Republic Campaign. So definitely give that a read. If you have questions, put them in the Q&A so I can answer them for the benefit of other people reading. But I think, there's so many great campaigns on Republic. And that was like my first step, was to invest in other people's companies so I could see, what they were doing from an updates perspective, like how that they were messaging their investors. I think that's, also just a great way to really research what's working, what's not. There's a lot of examples of companies that don't follow the description I'm about to share that are doing really well on Republic. But the key elements, I think, for a winning successful campaign are having some kind of product that people can try or get or anticipate. Obviously having some traction in the market, because it's different than a Kickstarter, right? Like, people do want to invest in this business for growth and making sure that it's going to work. And then, it has to have some sort of mission. You have to get something out there that's going to hit people in the heart and have them align with you as a founder and what you're doing. We had a lot of people that invested that were like, look, this is early stage. I don't really know if it's going to pan out, but I don't even care. I love this mission so much, and I want to be a part of, trying to make it work. And that's absolutely all gets down to like, our impact, right? As a company and brand.
And what does the future look like for AKUA?
We have our kelp burger right now, Summer of the Kelp Burger, and it's just definitely the core focus. But in the fall, we're going to be launching a 12-ounce pack. So you can take that kelp burger meat, put it into kelp bolognese or kelp tacos or pierogies, you name it. In fact, a lot of people are doing that already. They're just breaking up the burgers in a pan. And then, our next big product after that, we're going to be doing a vegan kelp crab cake. And, the reason for that is everyone's trying to put us in a box. Are you alternative meat? Are you alternative seafood? And I'm like, we're kelp. It's, we're doing both. And I'm trying to, not get boxed into any category. And our vegan kelp crab cake recipe is delicious.
That sounds amazing. And I would love to try that when it comes out. Final question for you. What does it mean to you to bring profit to the people?
I have long been a public markets investor. I have also long been a private investor in startups, but I've never been a wealthy person. And I run my own company and haven't paid myself in 4 years. But so I'm only really able to make like 10K checks, which is generally the minimum a startup will take into, a private investment round. And that's only because they're my friends letting me do this. And so I think what's so cool about Republic and Profits to the People is that you're kind of combining the risk reward ratio of investing in startups with the ease of what how you would invest in a public market. And finally allowing someone, even if they only have $200, to get that into a startup that they care about and, potentially make that 100x return or not. And they got to, have the thrill of learning. And I think that's the most important thing. I mean, yes, profits to the people, but learning to the people, getting to follow along on these rides. That is been the most amazing kind of tertiary benefit of building a company and being around entrepreneurs, is getting to learn about just entrepreneurship in general. So I think that's what's so cool about, Profits to the People, is that democratization of startup backing.
Couldn't agree more. CBM, thank you so much. We're so excited to see the future of AKUA, see all that you're going to do in the world. And we're so grateful to have you as part of the Republic family.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we will certainly be in touch. Very excited one day to probably come back and raise another round at that new $5 million cap.
This podcast is provided for educational purposes only by Republic and Republic.co. Nothing discussed should be construed as legal, tax, accounting, or investment advice. The views of the presenters may not be the views of Republic and its affiliates. Always consult with trusted professional advisors before making investments. Private investments are inherently illiquid and may result in a total loss. All rights reserved.